It's still 5 o'clock here. Okay, how you doing, Blake? We're streaming. I'll retweet
Good
it.
morning.
I'll retweet it once I have a chance. Hi, Rob, AJ, Blake's here. Okay, James, Ryan. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah, the AM, AM, buddy. All right, let's go, Will. Where do you want to go? We'll start with whatever you want to look like, whatever you want to look at. Where's your interest? S&Ps? Okay. Blake, I'm sure has something to say about S&Ps. Although Ryan trades them. I remember when he bought a breakout, it was amazing. So,
And by the way, it looks like Greg is popping in this morning.
wow, the full team. Okay, so all right, Will wants to talk about S&Ps. We have a little bit of a give back here. Um, we exceeded 61.8 in S&Ps. We did not in the NASDAQ. So maybe we just had A. And, if you're a bull, this is probably just one of something going to new highs. If you're a bear, maybe we get some type of ABC here over the next week or so before NVIDIA's earnings. So does that satisfy? Let's see what Blake thinks. S&P, bro.
Well, I mean, we got to the 618, so I mean, this is would be kind of a failure area. I was talking about it with our traders yesterday, Dale, that we were going to break above resistance just slightly and then turn lower, and that we've done. So, it's just enough to frustrate anybody who's on the short side,
Yeah.
and probably get some people long because you rallied past the 618 ever so slightly, and then now we're rolling over. It doesn't surprise me at the least bit right now.
Is it a trade to trade it from up here now that it frustrated shorts?
I
A
think
sell?
so, and I think so, and we've gotten past the. I know the government isn't truly reopening, but I actually sold gold right at this price last night because the Senate advanced the bill. House is they're gonna vote for it, and that shouldn't be a problem. Then it should be Trump afterwards. So the House will vote on it tomorrow, and then Trump will sign it, and then the government will reopen by the end of the week. So we all know now that it's gotten past the Senate, it should happen. And so we could be in the buy the rumor, sell the news event
I
for
like it.
equities.
I
Yeah,
like
but I'm focused on
um
gold
yeah,
because that's
that's what
what
I'm
I
talking.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. But the gold silver ratio, actually, if this is turning, silver could even be a better short. I sold some at 51.20. I'm thinking of taking partials here. But yeah, turnaround Tuesday, nice trade. Are you sitting with it? And where would you take partials on your gold
With
here?
gold,
Yeah.
oh, I'm taking it off at 2,800. So
All right.
just kidding.
All
No, no,
right.
I mean I don't want to see it above 4,200, and I think
Yeah.
it drops back below 4,000. So this is
Okay.
like being positioned short here at 4130s, 4140s is, good risk reward for what I'm looking for. Risking 50, $60 to make a couple hundred. That's about
You
where I'm at.
do you mind taking the screen for a minute, Blake?
Yeah,
I have to
sure.
do something in my account. I
Oh yeah, get
appreciate
rid
it.
of the get rid of the porn. Yep, gotcha.
Uh,
Yep, got it.
uh,
Just
oh
kidding,
yeah,
Dale.
I know, I
Just
know.
kidding. Just
I
kidding.
don't tell everyone.
I know. Sorry.
All right.
Blurt that out. Sometimes that does happen. Hey, well, you know what? We do have Grega here. I want to bring Grega in in a second, but I want to ask Ryan and K-Man. I didn't get a chance to listen to the flow show today. I was kind of had my hands tied doing other things. But Ryan, what happened with the UK jobs report? It looked like it was pretty weak.
Yeah, it's crap.
Yeah,
No way to.
I was short sterling, and I had a really tight limit on it. Obviously too tight because I got limited out way early. But I wasn't really thinking about it. But the pound didn't suffer that much. I mean, it came under pressure, but not that much.
Yeah, I mean, the jobs market's been softening a bit over here anyway, so it was, pushing on an open door really. So we didn't see that much of a reaction. Euro sterling back into the 88s, but it just, it just makes things more pressurised for Rachel Reeves and a budget, because she's not going into a strong economy. She hasn't got a strong economy with which to she's suspected to raise taxes into. So yeah, more woes, but it's still part and parcel of what the market's thinking about it anyway. So yeah, we've had another push up in euro sterling. Couldn't push up to any new highs or anything like that. We're still struggling in this 88, 15, 20, 25 area. And we got the range down the bottom into 86, 60, 70. So yeah, it's a tight one at the moment.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and I look around and I'm thinking, maybe this is well, let me just say this. Let's go over to like a weekly chart. The euro sterling is still holding its breakout, and that's the most important thing for me on technically speaking, is that we were testing it yesterday, like the breakout point, and then obviously after today's data, pushed us a little higher. Now we do have UK GDP on Thursday
Yeah,
morning, yeah.
yeah.
So, maybe that allows for us to get to new fresh highs in sterling. And again, before I bring in Grega, I wanted to bring in Cayman really quick. Cayman, any observations as you got up today and something that's jumping out at you before we turn over to Grega?
Jumping out. Well, the yen is still relatively weak.
Yeah, we came really close to breaking out with the dollar yen,
Yeah,
right?
but we were talking about it on the flow show. The 154 and a half. There seems to be some stuff going on there in the dollar yen, so it shied back from the level. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's fiscality against a bit of the officials keeping the market on its toes in regards to the weakness of the yen. Because as I said, I think those officials, they know exactly what's going to happen to the yen or continue to happen to the yen based on Takaichi and team's fiscal approach. So they have to keep the warning, let's say, the warning levels at a certain higher degree than what we should have if nothing was really going on, or the dollar yen would be a lot lower, or yen crosses a lot lower.
Yeah.
So it's a bit one against the other, but there's definitely a bit of interest around 154 and a half. So if ever it would break, that would probably add another percent or so to the dollar yen. But for now, it doesn't, and we need to respect that level a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, this has been the weekly triangle. This is a weekly chart, guys, just so everybody can see it. It's been like that weekly breakout point that it's been
Yeah, we've been.
so contentious right here.
Yeah, we've been turning around quite a long time, and I think one of the reasons that we are hanging around there are those yen crosses. Euro yen is nearly back to that prior 178.80 high, just as one example. Even sterling yen, with sterling potentially under a bit of pressure, is still above 202. I mean, those are still lofty levels, right?
Yeah, they're
And
not
they
really
continue
pulling
to be
back a whole
supported.
lot.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's turn over to Grega, Dale,
Yeah,
because
Grega
yeah.
has a view on yen that I think the community would find compelling. So, um, you know
What's
how
going
I
on?
know? You know how I know everyone out there? Because I have access to the website. Okay. And you need it too, because Greg is very good. Okay. He's not a messiah, doesn't walk on water, but he's very good. And when I'm confused about counts and where we're at, it's one of my better resources, plus the rest of the team. Andre, check out his harmonics, and Blake, if you want to ever see a master classical technician, his stuff, you see it here every day, but you don't get to see everything, all the instruments. So spend a buck and see if I'm lying. I'm sorry, Blake. Go ahead.
Oh no, it wasn't me. I want to
Oh,
bring
oh,
Greg in. So
oh yeah, oh yeah.
thanks,
Go
Dale.
ahead, Grega. So why don't you share your count on yen if you want to do it? I think it's a very valuable view that you have here.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
Gregor, we can't hear you, by the way.
There it
You
is.
you cannot?
Oh, now
Yeah,
we
we
can.
can. Yeah,
Now we can.
there,
Yep.
there you go.
Okay.
I'm going to trade this, Grega.
You
We get
will?
up there. I promise you.
Okay. It's not my fault if it doesn't work. It's Elliott waves. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I know. Elliot, he was a manic. No, he was bipolar because he would wave compulsively to everyone he saw down the street, but his wife was corrective. Anyone have a corrective
Was
wife out there? Give me a yes. All right, go ahead. Sorry, brother.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's a very powerful pattern. We have potential ending diagonal
Yeah,
here, which could be in late stages. There's still room for 155, 156 level.
yeah.
But because of those overlaps, I think that momentum is clearly decreasing here. I'm not sure what can trigger a reversal. Maybe the BOG should turn to be more hawkish. It was on hold last time. Or maybe we'll just simply see dollar selling off, which I think it's possible. I still see a risk on happening. So I think that if the dollar will see to the upside, we will be, to the downside, generally speaking, I think the dollar yen will find a resistance here and potentially turn south. So we are not there yet, but as I said, 155, maybe 156, it's the upper limit if we get a bit more extended lag with a potential throw over here. But overall, just think that we are closer to potential very important reversal point here as
And
well.
you also give a potential target for that, the unfilled gap underneath.
Yeah, I mean, in the spot market, such a big gaps. What happened back here? I don't remember really what happened here.
It's all a blur to me, brother.
But it looks like
What year was that?
The new prime Takaichi got elected as new prime minister.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. Thank you. So
Mr.
basically,
Yen.
this gap still at some point in the future, I believe we will come back down, but it's yet to be discovered when. But if we just consider the probability based on the Elliott wave structures and this wedge formation, then as I said, if we hold this 155, 156, and later on we see a reversal, I just think that we will have some interesting play for potential weakness here. So
Okay, buddy. So what did you want to present before I, interjected?
I mean, generally speaking, dollar, I mean, still, if you look at this price action, we are just simply going nowhere, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but we are at these potential resistance levels. So,
yeah,
in my opinion, there is still a chance that we will see weakness. If you take a look here, maybe on the latest wave structure, we basically had an overlapping recovery from September lows. We
yeah,
failed to break above 125 resistance. Now we are
yeah,
chasing this lower channel. So I
yeah.
think that at least temporary weakness could be seen. I'm not saying that we will see a straight push to the downside stuff. My wave count is showing that, but I certainly believe that we could easily stay in this range for even longer. So now when we stopped at the upper side of the range, at least over the mid of the side of the range.
98. Yeah, I concur. That's a
Yeah,
nice
and
count. And, then you have to judge it right at 98 to whether it's starting to dig in its heels for a higher low again and then another advance. But it could
yeah,
fail, could fail. Maybe that was it. I mean,
and we
you know,
also, by the way, have this gap here as well from October on dollar index itself. And also same thing, it's on the euro dollar in the upside.
yeah. And you
So
know what, Grega, we've been hearing sentiment wise, and I know you track that too, that the short dollar position was so crowded. Well, it's had a few months to squeeze a crowded trade, and hasn't done much. I mean, it hasn't been a terrible squeeze for people that have, stayed bearish a dollar. So
Yeah,
I know.
but
So go ahead.
it will be interesting to see when, or if I'm not mistaken, the COT data has already been released, probably now when we are now still in the shutdown, or am I wrong?
Yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
there could be some interesting numbers when finally they will be released. So I think that
Great
that's
point.
something that we will have to
Yeah.
watch
Yeah,
as
because we
well.
don't know right now. Okay.
Also, the S&P 500, maybe looking at the 4-hour, or the daily time frame here, we basically are stuck in this range, but we were able to hold this lower trend line support of this parallel channel. After that gap and rebound, firstly a rebound, it was a very nice one on Friday at the close, and then even we gapped higher and now it's still pushing higher. So I think that's a pretty interesting reversal pattern. But as Blake said, we are at some resistance here, which was the swing high from last Wednesday. And this gap from this week obviously could still get filled. So I'm thinking about some pullbacks that could occur in the middle of the week, and then possibly we see more upside after these A, B, C, D, E legs are in place. So overall, I think that we are sideways here at the upper side of the range, but buying dips here makes sense while the market trades above that channel support that I just highlighted. So for now, it's not really clear when we may anticipate this break to the upside, as you said yourself, Dale, that we have NVIDIA earnings in a week from now or so. And
Yeah.
I think that we could now stay consolidating here. I'm sorry, I have my cat here. Probably you can
No,
hear it.
Ken.
Yeah, I mean,
Purring.
my cat, it's like I'm at Steve's home.
Okay. Well,
Steve
your
has
kid,
a lot of cats.
He
your
does.
cat,
He's like a
yeah,
cat lady, but a dude.
Yeah.
your cat likes NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Hey, Grega, Dimitri asked, did you see silver? Do you have any views on silver?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Firstly, still gold-silver ratio holds this trend line support. And if we think that we completed these 5 waves down in Elliott waves terminology, before you can expect that market will resume lower, you need 3 waves up. So it looks like that this gold-silver ratio will still consolidate. And if that's going to be the case, then we should respect the potential resistance right here at the 61.8%, maybe the 78.6% on silver. We are at the upper channel line right now. The fact is that now when we have seen straight push to the upside since we opened this week, I just don't believe that the whole week will last like this. There will be some swings in the middle of the week. So maybe we get just temporary sell-off, but I certainly think that there will be some reversal, and potentially if we can approach the lower trend line support, I would be watching for much lower prices, because simply put, we have 5 waves down here, followed by an ABC rise. So that's the textbook Elliott wave pattern that I don't want to ignore. So I would definitely not be looking for any kind of a longs here. I still think that if someone is waiting on interesting retracement, despite the fact that we already have a 15% drop, I still think that there will be much better levels later on. But of course, we just need to be patient here.
Overall, Grega, you were looking for the dollar to move higher, weren't you?
Yes, weeks back maybe, but with this sell-off from that resistance, I just think that this choppy price action will resume with potential weakness towards the lower side of this range.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Dale, did you have anything else for Grega?
How about Bitcoin, Greg? Is 100 it, or can we wash out one more time?
Just a quick update on cryptos. I mean, this is the crypto total market cap that excludes the top 10 coins. You can see that we are progressing quite nicely to the upside. So it means that there are flows out of the Bitcoin moving into alts at the moment. And that's clearly visible. If you look at the others dominance, you can see some very nice push to the upside towards even above 7% on total cap, while the Bitcoin dominance here you can see it's coming down aggressively from the 61 to below 60%. So in other words, community believes that cryptocurrencies will strengthen and they will still stay in this uptrend. And that's why they're looking for alts to buy, because they're looking opportunities, simply put, on the coins that are cheaper. But even Bitcoin itself, it's holding this level around 100,000. Yeah. So even if other coins will move to the upside, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin itself will move lower. It means that it can stay sideways or just will move to the upside with a slower pace here. So as long as we are above 100,000 level, since we hold this support, I just think that this should be seen like some kind of a pivot level between bulls and bears. And as long as we are above it, I just think that there could be opportunities on the cryptocurrencies. But as I said, because others' dominance is moving to the upside, because it means that there is much more interesting potential setups on alts rather than on a Bitcoin itself. And if you look maybe even on Ripple, as we discussed last time, we had a very nice rebound from around $2 here. And I still think that this whole wave structure is telling us that we could see a push towards the upper side of that range that is basically here from the beginning of the year.
Hey, if you guys are wondering why the dollar's getting hit here, ADP data, they're releasing data on on weekly basis now, you know, kind of covering for the BLS. And we have seen the ADP says, and this is in via the Forex Analytix chat room, for 4 weeks ending October 25th, 2025, private employers shed an average of 11,250 jobs a week, suggesting that the labor market struggled to produce jobs consistently during the second half of the month. So dollar yen slipped about 20 pips, euros at highs approaching 116. Even sterling has bounced back, you know, from the weak jobs report that sterling had overnight. So dollar Canadian slipping back towards 140. So that we are seeing the dollar weaken as a result of this ADP data. Just heads up.
Okay, that's bringing back metals too.
Euro dollar is just now testing this trend line resistance from the channel, from the highs. So I think that we can basically break through here and move even higher within a higher degree triangle here. So after dip, I think that euro dollar, especially 115.40, I think that's a pretty interesting support here. By the way, if you take a look closely here, we broke below it here last week. Retested as a resistance. We moved back above the previous lows. So it looks like a reversal or bottom formation. So I'm thinking that euro dollar is coming to the upside, or in other words, dollar weakness could resume. Maybe the final thing, crude oil, it's been on the sideline for for 2 weeks now or so. But this move, as you know, occurred when there were reports that new sanctions are coming against Russia. And since that was an impulsive move, now we just pulled back with 3 waves here. And trying to break this bull flag, I think that more upside could be seen, and that dollar NOK would possibly see much more weakness, in my opinion.
Okay. I think you covered the board.
Yes.
So
that's what I had on the list.
Yeah, okay, beautiful. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So, you know, guys, you have access to this stuff every day as a member. And as you notice, Grega doesn't come every day. And, you know, for example, you know, some people didn't know that Grega flipped. It's, you know, if you don't learn how to change your mind, you won't have any change left. So how many people are signing up today before I start the interview in a little while? Okay. All right. So let's get back to the guys.
And by the way, I think the euro is coming back towards the 116 level. This is the 618 retracement of the most recent drop, underside of the triangle. I think this is going to be pretty stiff resistance personally. This is the level that I talked about on the week ahead video. I think this is going to be really, really strong. But given the fact that we had weak ADP data, and that's really what's weighing on the dollar. And the dollar, I mean, look at what's happened with the dollar yen. I mean, the dollar yen has just absolutely just come unglued here following that ADP data. And I think a lot of people are, just, they're not seeing it, or maybe they're late to see it. So now that the market's kind of, seeing all this information come out, and like uh, Investing Live, which used to be Forex Live, they're just now catching on because, Ryan's been posting this data all over the place. I think people are now catching on to it, but the move might be over here. So that's why I would be careful chasing the euro right into 116. As we break into these new highs especially with divergent relative strength. Ryan, we got just a couple of minutes before Tony Nash comes in. You have any thoughts here on this data?
Yeah, it looks like a massive react. Looks like an NFP numbers dropped,
Yeah.
which is a bit surprising because if you look at the chart on that data, it shows that it's been in the negative going back into August and September. So yeah, I'm thinking this is a bit of an overreaction. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I might have a little fade.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge, huge reaction right now. I'm quite surprised myself. K-Man, what are you thinking here?
Tell all the dollars you can find in the world. No, I mean, I'm joking. But the problem is, it's the only thing that we get out of the US. So it may be the overreaction. It may overreact just a little bit on anything that we are going to see out of the US right now. But yeah, we are on an important level. I did say on the flow show that if I would suspect a break, it may be to the top side in the euro, but it's still going to be, in my opinion, more of a grind than an explosion because those vols are so low. And we are going to find people much faster on each side of moves than we would see if volatility would be higher. So yeah, it could be just a 116 print, and we are stuck in another range. But if I would prefer a break or think that it may break, it could be just slowly to the upside. But again, it's capped at 116 as we see.
Can I
Yeah.
ask can I ask K-Man and
Mm.
Ryan what they're doing with their 10,000 euro notes that are going to become illegal in 2 years?
We're lighting cigars with them.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, I use them
But
as wall.
I mean,
I
what do you
use them
think
as
about?
wallpaper in my toilet.
Have you ever had a 10,000 euro note after a
No,
great trade?
I thought
Huh?
they banned them ages ago, years and years
So
ago.
so then what's the basis of this story
Well, there
that's
was
out there?
there used to be a 500 euro note that they got rid of, I think, because all the criminals were using it.
Okay. Probably like the 100 here. Okay, I just saw the story. Cash is dead in 700 and something days. That certain notes are euro notes, and by then you'll have your CBDC anyway in Europe. I don't know if the UK will, but in Europe. Okay. Anyway, well, Back to the Future.
All
So
right. Well, I just want to say, hey guys, this 116 level, big level in the euro. We are seeing, I think it is a overreaction. But at the same time, equities are turning a little lower as well. You see the S&P's, on its lows of the session right now, just kind of trying to turn lower. Precious metals didn't move a whole lot. It's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, dollar mex is trying to bounce here, and the Aussie and the Kiwi are they just pushed up, but they're pulling back just a little bit. So very interesting reaction overall. Dale,
Blake,
I'm going to pass it over to you because I know you
well,
have your guest
yeah,
here.
Tony's not here quite yet. I wanted to
Oh,
ask you.
yeah.
Gosh, now I forgot. Oh yeah, the dollar. Okay, so the dollar selling off, and then we got a little additional pressure in the S&Ps. The dollar didn't get a bid last week during all that risk off. Where's your head at as far as the dollar going down being risk on or it being risk off?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the dollar is can be a risk off type of tool, but we have to see, we have to see the market actually give us some risk off. Well, the market's been, just
Well, I mean,
bouncing back
last
quite
week,
aggressively.
yeah,
So,
but last week that decline before the reversal, that was pretty vicious.
yeah, and I
I
mean the
mean,
dollar responded pretty good, and then we got a reversal. But I think now that we're getting past this government shutdown, it's going to be interesting to see what the dollar does from here. And
yeah,
I really don't have a good answer
me either.
at this moment.
Yeah,
Um,
that's why I asked, because I
yeah,
don't
and
know.
I'm not sure. I felt more strong about what we're seeing in the markets. I just don't feel that way right now.
Yeah, I know what
I
you
mean, look
mean.
at Sterling. Sterling just ripped. I mean, literally, um, I don't know, 30 pips higher on
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Um,
Tony, where are you? If you're here in the room, raise your hand. I don't see you. I'm all prepped for your interview, buddy.
yeah,
All
let
right.
me see.
Let me go to
No, I don't see him
X.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not here either. Hey, K-Man, Ryan, any last minute thoughts while we're here?
Oh, he couldn't find the link. Okay. Same link every time I tell these guys. Okay.
Yeah.
It never, the link never changes.
Right. Just come on in.
Yeah. All right.
I'm sure he'll be here in a second. But any last minute thoughts, K-Man, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm having a little fade in dollar yen. I've picked some up at 74 for a
Oh
tight
yeah.
one. See what happens.
Nice.
I'm still long euro yen, and Dale's question was interesting, and I think we spoke about that already yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I think we may have reached that inflection point where bad data could trigger lower equities, but also a lower dollar, and the inverse is true as well, because data will be directional on the whole economic impact on the dollar right now. So the lower equities, higher dollar may have run its course, I think. And the inverse is true as well. If the equities go higher, thanks to good numbers, we should not be selling dollars either.
Thanks.
All
Thank you,
I
Kay.
want to give you a quick nod as well, Dale, because you said about the Thanksgiving stuff and the air traffic controllers, and that looks like that's what's shaken up Trump to get the deal done.
Okay, bro. Thank you. So Tony is here. If you could promote him for me, Blake. And one of our attendees came up with a new name for you, K-Man. I think it's a great name. Did you see it?
No.
KN.
Oh, Bran. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, K. I
Thanks,
like
Bran.
that. KN. All right. So if someone could help me promote
He's here.
Tony's
Tony's here.
promoted.
I'm
Okay.
here.
You're here? Turn
And
on
at
your
some
camera.
point in 2025, I'll learn how to use Zoom. So
Well, let me just tell you, it's the same link for about, I don't know,
I
Blake, 10
I
years now?
figured that out.
Anyway, good to have you here. Thanks,
Thank you.
Stream Team. Thank you,
Welcome, Tony.
Ryan.
All right.
Hi, Blake.
Grega, thanks for coming. K-Man, Ryan. Thank you, guys. A lot of pearls dropped in our batting practice today. So, Tony, great to have you here.
Thanks, Dale.
You gave me some bullet points to cover with you. You want to start with the dollar? It's
Yeah,
under
sure.
pressure here.
Yeah, I know we've seen some real upward movement in the dollar in the last few weeks, but there are a couple of upward pressure points for the dollar. Of course, government opening is one. That's with the government open, we have more demand for dollars so that the US can spend other people's money quicker. So we're going to see a lot more of a demand for the US dollar from the fiscal kind of unlocking. But here's the other thing that I don't really see anybody talking about is with the Trump visit to Asia and the improvement in trade relations, there's more of a demand for dollars from that as well. So for all of the talk about the demise of the dollar and all this kind of stuff we've heard over the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years, the dollar is still the global means of transaction. And if the U.S.-China trade relationship and U.S.-Korea, U.S.-Japan, and other ones are truly unlocking, then those transactions are going to happen in dollars. So there will be more dollar demand. Are we going to see 110, 115? I seriously doubt it. We're not going to see that on the DX. Are we going to see 102, 103? Yeah, I think that's likely possible. And I think I don't see major upward opportunities there. I would just
Okay.
be careful of looking at downside here.
Okay, so do you have levels? To me, looks like Dixie could trade maybe 98, flush some people out, and then maybe dig its heels in
Yeah,
and not
that's
go to new
exactly
lows.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're expecting is we may see a little bit of pullback just on kind of sentiment more than anything. But I think we're looking at between 102 and 105. And then I think before the end of the year, we see a little bit of pullback there. But as those kind of the machines start moving in the US government and as the machines start moving in trade, we start to see more of an upward push in the dollar.
Okay, you also wanted to cover the yuan because of trade relations. Now, I just heard one thing about
Yeah.
this trade deal, Tony. I want your
Okay.
impression that the 1 year stay of execution that will still get rare earth metals from China, that there's this application process that other people have been going through that it takes forever. They
Hmm.
want pictures of what you're going to be using it for, which could have national defense implications. So really, is this deal really done? And is the rare earth, can you imagine China still having leverage and the Supreme Court knocking down what President Trump uses as leverage, his
Yeah.
tariffs?
I
I
mean,
mean, what could that
there will be
happen?
tariffs regardless. Let's go back to what you talked about, the rare
The
earths and
yuan?
magnets.
Okay.
So I was in Las Vegas last week. I spoke at this SEMA event, which is a kind of a cool car show, and a lot of aftermarket automakers are there. And they were telling me that even for auto parts, they have to go through the process of taking pictures of their factory floor, disclosing who their customers are, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the response from the manufacturers I talked to is this. They said, look, they already know who our customers are. They already know what they already
They
manufacture our
already know
stuff for us generally.
they know everything.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so he
Okay.
said they know this stuff already. So this is just an administrative process. So I talked about tariffs a lot there, and that process adds about 15% on the cost of those goods they're importing. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So this administrative cost, it's a non-tariff barrier, right? And nobody really knows what a non-tariff barrier is, except for about three of us who've been talking about them for about 12 years. But nobody really knows what those are. But this is a good example of one, right? It's an export control, and so my understanding is that that documentary process is being rolled back at least partially as a part of the agreement.
Okay.
Because the reality is China needs trade, and China needs trade with the US. And China has faced a pretty ugly deflationary environment for the last couple of years. Unofficially, officially, it's only been what, 6 or 9 months or something, but
Yeah.
they've seen a pretty ugly deflationary environment. They need fiscal spending domestically in order to prop up the companies, prop up real estate, and so on and so forth. So, no, when I talk about fiscal spending, both in the US and in China, I'm not talking about turning on the printing press. I use that kind of in quotes. We're not just talking about creating money supply. We're actually talking about spending money. And when you spend a currency in that currency's denomination, it creates more demand for that currency. So I do expect a slight appreciation of CNY.
Okay.
If the trade discussions had not gone well, our base case was for a fairly dramatic depreciation of CNY. And that's why we believe that's why we saw so much pressure on gold, because Chinese, I say political figures, obviously Chinese government offices, companies were hedging gold, or hedging in gold, preparing for a significant deval of CNY. And then once that deval was largely done, they were going to switch back into CNY. Okay, so a lot of the buying we've seen in gold has been in China, a lot.
That's interesting.
And we've heard a number of stories from the mainland where people are trying to get money out, even $30,000 to $40,000. We're not talking about $500,000 or millions, where they're not given approval to take their money out of China. And this is as recent as last week. They then go to the bullion dealers, like in Shanghai. There's no gold for sale. So demand for gold has spiked still in China. So the government domestically has to convince their people that they're not going to devalue CNY. Okay. And so this is a real dilemma in China, and it's why we still are seeing upward pressure on gold prices, because the demand in China is colossal. Nobody trusts the PBOC, nobody trusts the government, nobody trusts the value of the currency. So in China, the domestic pressure to see some progress on the US-China trade agreement is massive. Okay. So we hear in the news about how strong China is and how they're going to, whatever, embarrass the US. It's not the
Yeah.
case. Okay. On the ground, exporters need to export. People are losing jobs. People want to take their money out of China and so on. So the government has to convince their people that they're not going to devalue the currency, which is why I believe we're going to see a little bit of appreciation of CNY, not a lot, but a little bit. Okay. And obviously, there's that pull through of needing more CNY to pay vendors, and to distribute some largesse so that we can get some inflation in China. That's what they want. They
Yeah.
want a little bit of inflation because deflation is just embarrassing, right? And deflation leads to job loss, it leads to collapsing prices, and so on and so forth. So
So
they're,
we know
they're
they're losing control if we trade back above 740, right?
yeah,
Because that would be the opposite. And that, for a long time, Tony, people have been saying that 740, 750 level. A year ago, people were afraid that China was going to let it go, right? And we were
Yeah,
going to
and they would
really,
have if these trade agreements didn't go. Again, what we hear in the States is, China holds the cards and all this nonsense. It's not true at all. Xi Jinping had to come to an agreement, okay, or his economy would collapse. So now when China does a deval, they have this famous deval they did in 2015 that was just embarrassing. They always overshoot. The PBOC does not know how to communicate a devaluation. So again, they're trying to convince people that they're not going to deval, and they're going to mess that up too. Okay, they always overshoot, and again, I've said this before, Dale, but the PBOC literally puts their policy together based partly upon numerology. Okay, and people will laugh at that, but it's true.
I don't believe, yeah, I mean, yeah, people in different cultures have
Yep.
different belief systems.
Yep, exactly. And so this is not a transparent central bank. This is a central bank based deep in, although we have the Cultural Revolution, there's still cultural bias. There's a bureaucratic bias. Nobody wants to disappoint the senior CCP members because they'll end up falling off a building,
Hey,
right?
yeah, and I was wondering if you could get a hold of one of your contacts on the ground there, and they could shoot me a good lotto number.
Yeah, I'll be in line first, Dale. I'll be in line
All
first.
right, Tony. Anyway, I planted a seed. All
Yep.
right, so let's go to the end now, Tony, because you're saying Japan is just going to be Japan, which
Japan's
means
Japan. It's
yeah,
they're going to do what they do. They're going to depreciate. Look, Japan, Korea, China are in an export competition. And how can Japan compete? Well, they can compete by installing robots and devaluing. That's how they compete. They have great products. Everybody knows that. Nobody has to be convinced of that. But they're competing with China and Korea. Korea will always devalue the won. That's their easiest tool to go to. And so, Japan has to sit in a happy middle, an unhappy middle, actually, and compete with the exported deflation from China and the currency kind of torpedoing that Korea is consistently happy to do. So Japan has to deval. We're not going to see, when I remember going to China, or sorry, in Tokyo in 2012, I used to go there every couple months, and the yen was trading at 76. I don't know if you remember this,
Oh,
Dale, but
I do,
trading at
buddy.
76. And then at the time, Japanese industry said, we just need a yen at 95 and we'll be fine. And then before we knew it, it was at 120, and then it was at 150, right? So Japan will have to depreciate their currency. They're going to have intervention from their central bank, and they'll have a lot of kind of policies filled with new letters.
So 160 handle coming.
Yeah, at least. I mean, we may see things get out of hand, but I think we'll head there. This isn't going to happen overnight. I'm talking probably a 2-month horizon.
Okay, that's
But we definitely need to keep an eye on that.
so use this any weakness that we get here in the yen. Look for your support levels. You think 152 holds, 150 holds?
Yeah, for a
What do
short
you?
time, absolutely. I think there's, again, we're going to be. Japan has to find a way to compete.
Okay,
And that's really what we're looking for, is that competition between those three countries is incredibly intense, and you can't not devalue. You can't not automate. Those three are so locked in competition.
okay. So I mean, a lot of great currency thoughts here, Tony.
Thank
Why
you.
don't we do a little Beverly Hillbillies analysis?
Sure.
Do you know who they were? You know the show?
Of course I do.
All right.
Dale,
Well,
I was
you're young. Everyone's younger than me, so I have to
Yeah, I
ask.
was born in the 70s, and after high school, Beverly Hillbillies was kind of in syndication and on repeat,
Uh,
so I
okay.
couldn't really help myself.
All right.
So in terms of oil, we've got WTI trading at about 61 right now. We expect it to head up to 64, 65 in the next couple weeks. We may see it come back a little bit before the end of the year, but we do see some upward pressure on WTI, of course on Brent as well, but the price levels I sent to you is focused on WTI.
Okay.
So with the government opening, with the FAA and airlines all roaring back, we do expect upward pressure on crude, and that will again that will, at least after Thanksgiving, I think we'll see a little bit of pressure released from there.
Okay. So you think the lows are in here?
Yeah, at least for now, I think the lows are
Okay.
in. Yeah.
Any comment on natural gas, which has been a superstar compared to WTI?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that really depends on, this Arctic blast and how many Arctic blasts we're going to have this winter. Nat gas for us is always a very short-term forecast because it's so incredibly volatile. So I think we need to wait to see what happens with these Arctic blasts over the next month, before we can really call a trend there, outside a seasonal trend.
Yeah. I don't know. I just see it, that we put in a couple of higher lows and
Oh
then
yeah,
gapped and
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Like we're definitely going to get back to those numbers that you have from, July,
okay.
simply because of the weather. But I don't know. To be honest, I didn't look at it before this call, but I just don't really know what we're gonna get, say, after Thanksgiving. So we get that
Okay.
Arctic blast, we see temperatures go down. How many are we going to get over December? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's also used in fertilizer because I was
Yeah,
making grain comments and people talk to me about it. And everyone's real bullish uranium and nuclear, but
yeah.
isn't this is a bridge to
Yeah, of
nuclear?
course it is. And we also hear the administration making positive comments about coal again. And so,
Uh,
all of this is just, it's a competition for feedstock, right?
yeah,
And you know, will we have, I think if the competition was doing, say, nat gas and nuclear, that's great, right? But I think the reality is with a lot of these data center commitments, you're going to have your infrastructure upgraded. And if coal is the cheapest way to do it, and we can have an environmentally sound way of doing that, then I think we may see more coal build out. I don't know
Oh,
that for
no.
sure, but we may see that as a stopgap. It depends on, I think a lot of it depends on SMRs and how this, light technology in terms of nuclear can be deployed, and can it be done modularly and all this stuff.
Well, I know Santa's looking for some coal to put in our stockings, traders' stockings, if we're wrong going into
Sadly.
year end.
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
exactly.
all right, so you want to comment on the gold market? You said if we had, your thesis was that if we had stayed closed, gold would have been at ridiculous, yeah, I mean at new highs, right? If
Oh
the
yeah, absolutely. I have no doubt
okay,
about that.
all right,
And again, this is a rush of Chinese political and, we'll say in quotes, private sector assets moving into gold. We saw a little bit of relief after the agreement was made. It's climbing back up. I think there's some doubt about implementation of those agreements. And I think it's well-founded doubt because, we always meet with China. Everything's really happy for
yeah,
a few days,
days,
and then
hours,
reality hits, right? And so,
yeah.
so again, that pressure domestically in China for them to get their act together is immense. So, I mean, is there going, I don't believe there's going to be political change necessarily in China. I'm not that kind of guy, but I do know that the pressure is immense for the
Gee.
party to implement these things.
Okay, I mean, we really got a great primer on China. You're one of the best analysts when you come to your views on China that
Thanks, Dale.
give us insights that we never really read about on X or see in videos of people talking about China. So, Tony, with that being said, best way for people to get involved with you and contact you.
Sure,
Um,
thanks.
yeah,
Yeah, on X, my handle is at Tony Nash Nerd.
there it is.
Um, we do market forecasts at Complete Intelligence, so you see that there. You can sign up for free. We give global macro and SGX Singapore stocks and major currency pairs for free at Complete Intel. So sign up there for free, and then we have monthly subscriptions with more interesting pairs.
Okay, Tony, I always enjoy having a conversation
Thank
with
you,
you
guys.
every quarter. So we'll be talking next year, buddy.
Thank
Sure,
you,
I
sir.
I think it's going to be a wild ride between here and New Year's, don't
Oh
you?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
It'll be
Well,
fun.
we have gray hair. We could handle it.
I hope so.
All right,
Thanks, Dale.
Tony.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Tony Nash, everybody, my trading warrior brother. Find him at on X at Tony Nash Nerd. Go check out his website, and he has some. Here you go, free.
That's right. All you have to do
There
is
it is.
register. No credit card, nothing. Just get in there for free, and you get a bunch of free info.
Okay, so thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Dale.
Everybody, good hunting the rest of the day. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good turnaround Tuesday, everyone. See you, Tony.
See you.
You're welcome, Laura. You're welcome, everyone. Thought I'd let you see my face today. I shave once a month. Adios.